Hey everybody, it's Texas Trucker here, Alliance's Performance Shop, LoneStarMopars.com. Getting late Sunday night, super sultry out here. Just took a look at some incredibly cheap prices we scored on some assortment of MTS trays, be they lock sockets with labeled rails or if they're just friction pegs. Got some of that stuff for like $2. Just insane deals. And where I'd left off here though Saturday, I'd run out of time. I had an item I kind of wanted to make a standalone on. That's from DRPD, as you should know by the title, and that item is right here. So now that I've got your attention, this one is kind of something that I could have jumped on earlier but sort of held off for whatever reason. With a Memorial Day sale, it was a little more incentive, but there was also a sale DRPD was running on this ratchet. I think that sale is still in place. I'm sure by the time I record this it won't be, but once upon a time you could cash in on a sweet deal. What this is, it is Koken's part number. Oh boy, that's going to be fun for me to read through here. It's 2726Z. The focus thing is just like, right, I know it's clear, but on my back end I've got the square. So 2726Z, I think, dash 380 parentheses L16072T. They start kind of getting into some crazy part numbers when they do this. Price point on this guy, I think the sale price was $129.80, and then we take our discount on top of that. But this is kind of a special one. It was the one I was sort of on the fence for, and many of you are like, oh no, it's going to be quarter drive, we're going to have to listen to you complain about the handle, even though he knows that it's designed that way. And yeah, that's the case, but if we look at it, you think, okay, sweet, so a little quarter drive flex head. Wait a second, I'm pretty sure you have a quarter drive flex head, and it's that one, right? Yeah, we've got that one, but here's the deal. That's not the one that I use the most because it's so small. The one I use the most is here. And you're thinking like, huh, well, it looks identical. Except, what's this? And keen eyes, or people that remember what I have in the arsenal, will be like, oh yeah, you got this is your first foray into like Koken's quick release. That was a new addition they made, you know. You must really hate that quick release button because you bought the same ratchet. Well, let's dive into that, right? So this was the first edition, I believe, the top guy, and then of course the one that I use all the time is this one, and it's not because it's the quick release, it's because it's longer. I enjoy it more. This one does have a place, she sees some action, but I'm not gonna lie, unless there's something that strictly necessitates a shorter handle, because by no means is this super long. This is what's going to see most of the action. This one usually has a wobble fix extension attached to it, but you can tell just looking at the Anvil, this is the one that sees the work in quarter drive. So if you're thinking like, well, hey, that seems to be working, what's the problem? Like, do you not like it? Did it break down? You should have got it warrantied or buy a repair kit. No, this is a completely different ratchet. And I know what you're saying. You're saying like, idiot. No, it's not. It just doesn't have the quick release. Well, let me spin this around again so you can kind of get a look at it. If we dial this in, there's my quick release I want to highlight. So flex head's functioning, quick release seems to be functioning. What's the catch? Why would I bring this in for $129.80? You've just got to hate the quick release and regret getting it. Fantastic. Tell us so we don't make the same mistake. I actually really like the quick release. And if you're thinking, okay, well, you don't really have to complete the set there for people, like we could visualize it, you know, you're putting a tax on yourself. Well, here's where this one's different. It's right there. Some of you can see it, others of you may not, especially since we sat that one down. Obviously this one's brand new, hadn't been used, and you think, well, is it 90 tooth? What's the difference? Let me ring this one back up. Now can you tell? I hope you can. I really do. Again, no quick release, yes, but spin it around and hopefully now it is. Let's even get the ball detent back around for you. Surely you know what's going on, right? Let me, we'll do this as our final last ditch. We'll bust out these Z-Series since we paid for them. Beautiful, beautiful companionship here between the quarter drive here. So this is our Z-Series socket, super short quarter drive, right? Plugged in right there. That's where it's going to go most of the time because I prefer that one over the shorter guy. Let's see what it does on this one. Struggling. Why is that? Because this is 3/8 drive. Yeah, that's what we were building up to. This is one of Koken's. I hate to say it, but like their part numbers, I kind of get what they're doing because like this is the exact same ratchet. It's just this has a quick release, this doesn't, and then this is quarter and this is 3/8. So if we dial this in, or hopefully the camera can show you what I want it to. That chrome is just a little too fine sometimes, isn't it? You look at that, and okay, come on. 2726Z160 up top. That is our quick release one, okay? 2726Z160 on the bottom. And you think, well, hey, that's the exact same part number, buddy. Yeah, again, it kind of makes sense to me. I guess I'd have like the same dilemma if I was a tool company expanding out on things. But at the same time, it kind of, you think, well, maybe we should have redone that setup. It's the exact same ratchet body. This is the quarter drive, right? But then this one has the 3/8 Anvil. So the way they dubbed this one, like if you were to go to DRPD, you would do 2726Z, which is of course going to pull that stuff up. Then the length of 160 would separate these two. Again, picture no quick release or add a quick release there. There's a B, I think, for that. But then this one is 2726Z-3/8. And then we do the length of 160. So again, I kind of actually see what they're doing, but at the same time, I think even they might admit like that's sort of confusing to the consumer. And if you're thinking, oh yeah, they should change that to a 3 at the start, well, then you get into like a total different can of worms there. But all intents and purposes, the ad lib aside, this is a 3/8 head and a 1/4 inch body done by Koken. It's comically funny to look at, you know, like once you kind of realize that. I mean, like this is just, it's not that the Anvil is extra large, it's just the head on their quarter drive Z-Series is just that compact. Now, they haven't really done any trickery with 3/8 stuff. They literally did take this 1/4 inch ratchet. I mean, these are mirror images down to this head kit. Again, ignore the quick release or add one here. I kind of wanted the quick release here to differentiate it a little bit, but it was out of stock, and I thought, you know what, that's a pretty good sale. We can live without it. So they're essentially identical, and it's just this one has the 3/8 drive. So foolish me, I grabbed a 1/4 tray instead of a 3/8 tray. Go figure. But for the life of me, I sit out here in this sultry shop for like 15 minutes, and Koken's website just will not load for me. So what I'm going to do is use DRPD, because luckily he has a copy and pasted Koken catalog insert here. Again, 2726Z-3/8, parentheses, L160, close parentheses. We're going to look at a couple of dimensions. Number one, the widest part of the head, which is sort of right up here. You can kind of see it like shooting out kind of in this direction before it rounds back. Don't go to sleep, phone. It's that right there. We're just going to roll with millimeters, is 20.5. Very compact. T, that is going to be the dimension from the back of the head to the top of the anvil. Maximum distance there, 20.5. So it's an equal distance from here at my thumb to index finger as it is from my thumb to my index finger, 20.5. H, that is going to be the head thickness. That is going to be 9.5 millimeters. The weight's going to clock in at 130 grams. Total length, again, 160, 5-degree swing arc, 72 tooth. It is what it is, man. It's Koken's answer to the often requested, heavily user-created 3/8 head and a 1/4 inch body. You've got somewhere tight and compact, but you need either access to a larger socket or something a little bit stronger. That's where it comes in. Until recently, I did not have anything to compare that to. Like, that would have been it. You know, I do have a 1/2" head and a 3/8 body via Hazette, which most people are kind of unaware even exists. I love that they did that, by the way. But now, which I don't know when we'll ever get to release this, because I said we weren't going to do any of it until 10K. Now, I said we, I mean watching it, releasing it, making it public, but here I am jumping into the future because we have this. This is one of the little snap-on 3/8 head, 1/4" body. This is the controversial handles. I personally like them. Same handle, it's just inverted, so instead of being black with an orange snap-on and orange here and here at the trim, it's flipped. I dig it. I like the extra color. It's balanced fairly well. This thing is absurd. Like, it's that quiet, like I'm really turning it. You think, well, do the other direction, idiot. Slightly audible, right? Really, really good. The thing I'm kind of concerned about is this point that they put in, a designed fail point, right there at the anvil. If you're ever reefing on this, it's going to shear off, and you're going to have to punch that thing out of your socket, most likely. Comparing these lengthwise, you know how I feel about length. I have to give this to Snap-on, especially with the handle, which, if you're curious, do I find it to be perfect? No. But what do I complain about with the Compact Z stuff? Wish it was what? Longer and just a little bit wider. And if not, just have it as an option for people like me. I totally get why they do that. It makes sense, especially in quarter drive. You could easily say this is an advantage over this. In terms of just everyday comfort and doesn't cramp me up, I would prefer to go this route. The length also, if we go head to head there, and if we go handle up, you can kind of see the Koken basically is going to come to the yoke on the Snap-on. So it's significant, but not like detrimentally so as if we were to take this and compare here, which, if you're curious, and I know some of you might prefer this shorter, stubbier guy, you can get the 3/8 head there as well. But what really, in my opinion, is going to matter is the head thickness. And again, this is basically a Snap-on quarter, but there's a 3/8 just like this is literally a ratchet with 3/8. So if we do this, you can see pretty much dead on, but I think you can tell a difference immediately. This Koken head is going to be significantly thinner than the Snap-on. Again, nothing crazily detrimental, but just a smidge as I stand it up. I mean, it's probably, if the Koken was, what was that, 9.5 millimeters, the Snap-on might be like 11.5 type of a thing. So it's not crazy different. But then on the thickness of the head, this isn't a great comparison because we're flipping it for the selector switch that stands up on the Snap-on. You'll note you can see chrome there. You can see, I'm trying my best to keep these without shifting. It's nothing nefarious on my end. The Koken is going to be a little bit more compact. Again, that selector switch of the Snap-on really kind of creates some problems here. But if I get it centered and it doesn't slide, which is really hard to do, you can see chrome on all sides of the Koken, which means the Snap-on is a wider head. That may be an advantage. Do I wish that I could get this Koken with a length, you know, like around 8 to 10 and a slightly more handle? Oh yeah. Would I settle for the 8 to 10? Yes. Again, I totally get why Koken does this. It's just, I use the word dainty, you know, not as an insult, but like, that's what I feel like. It's, you know, cheerio, have our fish and chips, eh? That type of a thing. Super compact, they accomplished that mission beautifully. Just, if this was going to be a long-term thing you were having to do for some reason, if you have some decorative stainless firewall cap that you're having to take off because a throttle cable sheared back in there, and you're trying to do it painstakingly without pulling an engine or something, if this was your weapon of choice, like, there's going to come a point in time where you just, like, at least me, I'm going to stop and have to, like, flex my fingers, right? Whereas this, I'd at least have, like, a little bit more before I have to do that. I think I'd eventually get to the point of kind of like, man, this is ridiculous, and stop and flex here. It would just be a more prolonged experience. Now, I don't have any real seat time with this one yet. We just keep making videos and not getting to use the thing, but Koken, I know, I'm familiar with. I have quite a few years of experience with them now. they're phenomenal. There's nothing less to say. There's just the back drag on them. It's probably the best in the industry consistently. That's the other thing with Koken. It's, sometimes I have access to what, 3 or 4 of these now, between the one I gave my nephew. They're all great, but they're not consistent. The multi-position I have just like this in the same class from Snap-on, that thing's deathly quiet both directions. I assume it's like a difference in lube. I certainly hope it's not nothing to do with like the mechanicals inside. But with Koken, I could have this, I could take that and put the 3/8 head kit in it, we could do whatever, and it's always consistent, right? This is the sound that you get. This one that I don't use near as much as this one. And then this brand new one. It's just the consistency, and I respect that. I don't know if it's like the machinist in me coming out. But while the Snap-ons are fantastic, all 3 of them, they are audibly different. These are audibly the same, and that to me says consistency, and that is something I greatly admire and respect. That's what I want to see. If I came in for the first time and I was helping you kit out a toolbox and you decided on Hazette ratchets and we bought 5 of them, if they're all from the HP line, I want all of them to perform the same, right? Again, if they're the same drive size, maybe you're outfitting assembly stations, right? And you're going to have the same quarter drive ratchet in 4 spots, 16 feet apart or something. I expect those brand new ratchets from whatever company to all be the same. Koken does that, and they do that extremely well. So yeah, that is kind of my first foray. Surprisingly, again, we don't have that, but if you're curious, if you're always been on the fence, like, man, I'd really like to get one of those, 3/8 heads and a 1/4 inch body, these are probably your 2 best factory options, Snap-on and Koken. This is going to be a bit spendier, even with the dads and grads deal. If you wait to buy this one on a DRPD sale or a Koken sale, it's not unoften that you can't get, like 10 to 30%. So that's not an exaggeration. That's the real deal. Snap-on, if you save $10, that's kind of a big deal, realistically. Keep in mind, I'm going MSRP off the website. Your driver's mileage may vary. You might have a Matco that you hate that you trade in and he gives you this for a song. I don't know. It's going to vary driver to driver, so you can't really extrapolate data from it. These 2, though, are, like I said, readily available, ready to go. Koken's going to be a little bit more of a affordable option. Some of you, this could be very desirable, keeping every aspect, not just the head, but the entire experience of the ratchet, the body, the handle, the padded handle, everything max compact. Others of you might be like, hey, I just care about the head, and again, the Koken there would be the winner. Some of you, it might just be, hey, it's not that critical for me. It's just slightly smaller than my 3/8 is all I'm asking. This handle is way more comfortable for me. Go to town. You do you. The Koken's going to win on price every time, no doubt. And in terms of the Snap-on rebuild stuff may actually be cheaper, as crazy as that seems. But again, I haven't taxed these. I don't know how they're going to shear, but I do believe that they've engineered that to fail there. So the Koken may actually be a bit more robust. Their website here says 28 foot-pounds on the Snap-on, which that's not a lot. And so I would think the Koken might even take the cake there. Again, I could be not understanding what Snap-on's attempting to convey. But the bottom line, they're both good options. This one's a little bit more economical. It's also more compact, which if that's your goal, there you go. This was dual 80 from Snap-on, but it's 72 tooth. Again, that doesn't make sense to me. I looked specifically in the catalog last night for that online. I see no mention of it. If it's there, I don't know where. I can't thumb through 900 pages and find it. So it makes sense to me to put it with the ratchet section, and it wasn't. So it's 72 tooth, both are phenomenal. The Koken I'm just personally more familiar with. I don't think you could go wrong either way. This is more compact. It is going to win on the price point. This slightly longer, which the leverage could be a thing for you. And again, just the big difference really is the handle. You're either going to want all the way compact, or you're going to be like, hey, that's a lot smaller than my 3/8. This is good enough, and you might prefer that handle setup. But keep in mind, you could modify either one to kind of your liking, but I felt like with the sale on top of the discount, it was the time to strike on this thing. It is, again, quite dainty, but I could see it coming in handy. Again, like we run routinely 9/16 up through the quarter. Let's say that we've got something 3/4. For me to do this, I'd have to run an adapter, right, off that little slim profile quarter Z-Series. With this, I can just plug and play my 3/4 Proto. And yeah, you know, you're not going to have the leverage that you would with your 3/8. It's 280, but this might fit where that doesn't. So I'm pretty excited about it. Like, now that I've had it out of the box and play with it, I feel a little better about it. And again, the consistency across the Koken lineup. Like I said, maybe it's the machinist in me, but that is something that I greatly appreciate and admire. We can come in across any drive size. If it's the Z-Series 72 tooth, you kind of know what to expect. Snap-on, again, these have all been good, really good. It's just they're not consistent like the Koken. So with that said, if you have used this, which I'm sure many of you have, again, I'm kind of not one of the early adopters here, then especially by the time you see the video, I sort of kind of waited for the prices to have something change, and they did. But I kind of do like this thing, I'm not gonna lie. My only complaint, once more, I would like to see just a little bit more up and just a little volume here. Again, I cannot stress enough, I get it, this is compact, it's designed that way, they nailed their goals. Don't change it, but an option would be really nice for someone like myself that might like, hey, you know, if I had, you know, a handle up to here with a little volume on it, I'd be happier, I should say. That would be appreciated, but as is, this looks like a freaking steal. And when these aren't on a flyer sale that actually has a decent discount, this becomes an even better buy. Again, DRPD and Koken, between those two, your major holidays, random promotions like this random Koken sale that he had happened to overlap with a Memorial Day discount that stacks. So that's even more of a win. Koken, you sometimes can get 20 to 30% off on their website. Memorial Day, Independence Day, Father's Day, Black Friday type of a thing. So if you can wait and hold out, you'll get an even better buy on these. And again, a lot of you, it might just be slim, tiny, go to town. And the great news, if you have any quarter drive Koken stuff, it's the exact same profile. So if you have this ratchet, doesn't matter if it's quick release, 36 or 72 tooth. If you have the 2726Z, you're going to know the rough profile of that ratchet. So very beneficial there as well. With that said, I think that's all I've got for you. What I want to know from you, if you've got the Koken, how long have you had it? Is it just kind of a special use? Is it an all day, every day? Is it your favorite ratchet? How are you liking it? How does it hold up? Any issues with it? Any complaints, whether it's, you know, not compact enough, or you're like, hey, you know, when I use that for 40 minutes, my hand starts cramping. Whatever your experience, tell people. Similarly, if you got a Snap-on or another brand that offers you the compact 3/8 drive, 1/4 inch body type of a setup, how do you like it? How does it compare? Go to town, take it from there. With that said, that's all I've got for you. Socket fitment, it's going to be fantastic. I could throw the Protos on. We could go and grab the 3/8 Z-Series and create something just insanely stubby. You get the idea, I think, at this point in time. So if you want anything specific or some like compact showdown or something, let me know. Let me know what you want to see. I'll try to make it happen. But the bottom line, now that I've had this out, I'm just kind of getting to appreciate it a little bit more. So prior to unboxing it, I was kind of like, I don't know if I should have grabbed that thing. You know, we got the quarters, and now that it's out, I'm like, yeah, that was a pretty cool deal. So very happy with it at this point in time. Again, we'll interchange these. I can't recommend or endorse one over the other until I have used them. Again, I've got way more Koken experience than Snap-on, especially here recent modern iterations of Snap-on. So I gotta have seat time before I tell you, hey, you know, this is by far the better deal. If you like the handle or you need colors or something, go snap on. I have to reserve judgment. I can't just tout one over the other. I have to use them, and then I can tell you, hey, you know, turns out this just knocks the socks off of that thing. Or I kind of like the Koken better, but the snap-on handle is the bee's knees for this thing. I don't know. I gotta get seat time with them. Anything else is just a bench impression. So you have to be fair to the tools, both manufacturers. Neither one cares that I exist or gives me anything. I'm just being honest and don't want to be disingenuous. So both of them super neat, have their pros and cons. Most notably, if I could put this handle on that, I think I'd have like my winning combination, even though I'd still subtly like to tweak that handle. But yeah, I'm excited to use them. We'll see how we like them. Your thoughts and opinions, feel free to share. And with that said, you probably heard some texts come in. I got to check those out because, like I said, it is kind of late. So maybe another storm's developing. I don't know. Probably need a shower because it is hot in this place. LoneStarMopars.com. That is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All three at LoneStarMopars.com. With that said, I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, I encourage you to leave a like. If you like multiple things I do here, or you want to see these used in action on some vehicles, or, you know, check back in a couple months or a year and say, hey, which one of these did you wind up liking better? I encourage you to subscribe. If you do that, you ring the bell, you jump your Charger across the creek while wielding both your snap-on quarter drive Ratchet with a 3/8 head, and you do the same with your Koken. YouTube just might notify you. We got new videos every Wednesday and Saturday, 9 a.m. Texas time. With that said, I gotta get out of this sultry shop, get inside. Hope you enjoyed, and most importantly, I hope I catch you back here for more action from the shop. And bonus action, I just couldn't leave well enough alone. It would have bothered me if we didn't do this. So right here, we've got a Proto Stubby. Again, 3/8 drive, 3/4 inch socket. This is quite a bit smaller than your standard affair stuff. Look at that, comically smaller. You're seeing the eclipse of the socket versus the compact head of the quarter drive Koken body. But this is what you can do. You can run a 3/4 socket on this tiny little guy here that might be able to get you in. If you want a Koken to Koken extravagant comparison here, we're going to come in, we'll grab the 19 off of this rail. And this truly is 19 millimeter. Again, it's very close to the Proto. That's a bit stubbier. Again, we would probably have Kokens if they made SAE sizes, but this is a Z-Series socket. Plays beautifully with the Z-Series. Again, it eclipses this tiny little head as well. But look how compact that is. Just insanity to me to think that this tiny little, like, almost like a sucker stick, right? Or this, like, rolled up piece of cardboard. I've got some hose over here. I mean, like, look at this. Like, this is just some 3/8 hose. And we can come in and we can have something about that. This is actually a thicker profile than this thing. And we're able to turn a 3/8 drive 19 millimeter socket beautifully, mind you. You almost hate to put a spinner there, but I think it would work super good with this thing. Just the clearance that you have between this and a standard, you know, 19 millimeter socket, absurd. And again, it's a flex head, so I kind of do wish I'd have gotten a push button on this guy, but alas, it was out of stock and I kind of didn't want to miss out on the sale, so we cashed in. I think it's a win. Let me know your thoughts. But again, the more I play with that thing, the more I'm like, well, hey, you know, it was a pretty smart deal we made there. So let me know your thoughts on that stuff. Again, just a little bonus for you. I wanted to at least get a socket on there so you can kind of get an idea of what it's capable of. But fantastic Ratchet. Very excited to add it to the arsenal. That said, I'll catch you for more from the shop.